Hey everyone, this is the Tripwire podcast. I am your host, Zach at FF2 Batman. I am joined today by Steve Lawson at FF by Committee. How's it going today, Steve?
Oh, it's going great, man. Anytime I get to talk fantasy football and we got football on tonight, it's a great day. So we got to get into it.
Absolutely. So we are part of the Triple Play Fantasy Network. So we have lots of great content there. So make sure you go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the great content coming out. Like I said, we have baseball, basketball, football. We talk food, we talk movies, we got it all. So make sure you hit that subscribe so you don't miss out. You may be listening to us on the podcast. So go ahead and make sure you are following, downloading so you don't miss any great episodes. The main show for Triple Play Fantasy comes out live 6:30 p.m. on Tuesdays every week. So we are just the waiver wire portion. We try to come out with you quick every Monday night, 8 p.m., right before Monday Night Football. So you guys are already getting that information before you even think about your waivers. All right, so we're going to get
Just the
right
waiver
into
wire.
it.
This is how you win your league right here. We are the
Absolutely.
premier show right here.
Yes.
You're in it.
Yeah. And you're going to get first as fast as possible. So if you're not watching this live, you can catch us. We'll have all of the timestamps in the show description. So don't worry. You can skip ahead to where you need to go. And if you are watching live, feel free to leave a comment on YouTube. Unfortunately, Twitter still doesn't work. And we will try to answer as many questions as we can if there are any. So, Steve, kick us off. I should say we are doing ESPN roster percentages under 50%. We chose ESPN because they are the biggest platform. Whether you use them or not, they are by far the biggest. So we're trying to cover as many people as we can. So, Steve, please rank your 5 QB waiver wire pickups for week 4.
Yeah, so doing the quarterbacks is always a fun time, right? Because obviously it's the one that has the most names that you can grab at any time and you're recognizable. So starting off with that makes my life a lot easier. But here are the 5 you want to focus on in order of who you want to focus on. Number 1, you got Marcus Mariota. Number 2, you got Jimmy G. Number 3, Zach Wilson. Number 4, Jared Goff. And number 5, Jameis Winston. All right, so I'm not going to go into all 5 of them because you don't have that time, and we don't have that time because Monday Night Football is about to come on. So let's get to why I think some of these guys should be rostered in your leagues. Marcus Mariota is only 25% rostered. Marcus Mariota, of everyone on the waiver wire, has the most rushing upside. He's had a double-digit rush game. He's had like 8 rushes in another game and 7 rushes in another game, and he's rushing for 2 touchdowns this year already. If you're not picking up Marcus Mariota with a team with a bad defense, who's going to have to throw a lot, who's going to have to run a lot, what are you doing? What are we doing here? Right? Like, he's got the weapons, he's got the legs. Pick up Marcus Mariota, stream him, because if you're someone like me who, say, drafted Justin Fields, you're in need for a quarterback. If you don't have Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, or Jalen Hurts, quarterback is kind of in limbo this year. Consider Marcus Mariota and maybe go trade a quarterback to a QB needy team. The other guy we want to talk about is Zach Wilson. Not we. I want to talk about Zach Wilson. And I don't know if I've been conditioned to feel this way or if, like my girl Stephanie Germanata, I was born this way, but I love Zach Wilson and I love the talent. I really believe that with all those weapons in New York, he can really thrive. And with Breece Hall emerging as one of the best pass-catching backs in the NFL already, along with Garrett Wilson, along with Elijah Moore, along with Tyler Conklin, who we'll get to later, Zach Wilson is a sexy play.
I mean, it depends on the age bracket we're talking about, but some will agree with you, Steve.
The moms who watch this.
Yeah, all 2 of them. So we're going to move on to running backs. I can't transition from that at all. So my 5 running backs, honestly, this is actually really easy because unfortunately we've had some injuries. So number 1, Jamal Williams, 44.4% rostered. He might be out there for you. Number 2, Alexander Madison, 37.3% rostered. Number 3, Khalil Herbert, 25.4% rostered. Number 4, Brian Robinson, 36.8% rostered. And number 5, Samaje Perine, 3.7% rostered. So we went through a massive spectrum of different types of running backs there, all the way from they're almost 50% rostered to Samaje Perine is probably available in all of your leagues. So I wanted to highlight Jamal Williams. We just got news today on Monday that DeAndre Swift has a shoulder sprain. The coach is saying he would like to see him rest for a couple weeks to get back healthy. It's still too early in the week to know what's going on, but it sounds like DeAndre Swift may be missing at least a couple weeks, could be a month, or it could be less. We don't really know, but Jamal Williams has been crushing it, even sharing the field with Swift. Guess who is tied for the league lead in rushing touchdowns? You guessed it. It's Jamal Williams with 4. So he's
If
playing
it
well
wasn't
even with
Jamal
Swift.
Williams, that would have been a really weird lead.
I know. I mean, he's tied with Nick Chubb, so it would have been hilarious if it was like, you guessed it, it's Nick Chubb, but we're talking about Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's also Jamal Williams. So go ahead. If he's out there, I would be splashing the cash, at least 50% fab. I understand if you don't want to go crazy because we don't really know what's going on with DeAndre Swift, and it is nice when they have that complement of Williams and Swift together to bring that balance, kind of like Aaron Jones and why am I blanking on his name right
A.J.
now?
Dillon.
AJ Dillon. I love AJ Dillon. He's on so many of my teams. So they balance each other out. So I don't know how great Jamal Williams will be without Swift, but I'll take that chance. So at least 50% fab. You might have to really go all in for him, depending on how your league does bidding. I'm not going to touch on Alexander Madison, other than the fact that unfortunately Dalvin Cook still has a shoulder injury that he's been dealing with his entire career. So if he's out there, go grab him. You're probably looking at least 40 to 50% fab. Cook is saying he's fine. He's going to be playing. Even if that's true, he's probably going to injure his shoulder again this season, unfortunately. So you might as well stash Madison, even if you can't start him this week. And worst case scenario, he has some trade value to the Cook manager. And then I'm not really going to touch on Khalil Herbert because we've actually been talking him up since the beginning of the season and in preseason. But we don't really know exactly what's going on with Montgomery's injury. So go ahead, get Khalil Herbert. Again, you're splashing your fab for him. You're looking at 40, 50 plus %. And he might not be startable depending on if Montgomery goes or not. But Herbert just showed you when he does get the snaps, just like last year, he's going to put up points and can score a lot of yards. And that team does not throw. I don't know what it is, but they refuse to throw, yet they're 2-1. So go figure. The one I did want to highlight is Brian Robinson. He's with the Washington Commanders. He's on IR right now. So you might be wondering to yourself, why do I want to talk about him? Well, hopefully he is cleared to come back week 5. We don't know yet. That is the first time he can come back after IR. But if he is cleared, he's going to get some snaps. It's going to take some time. But I want to be a part of that offense. Antonio Gibson has been playing well this year. I know you love Antonio Gibson, Steve, and he's looked good. But
Look great.
we know Antonio Gibson has injury concerns in his history as well. So go ahead, stash Brian Robinson and put him on your IR spot. If you don't have an IR spot, I don't know if I'm wasting a roster spot yet for Brian Robinson, but now is the time to get him. You can still get him cheap because people aren't really thinking about him yet. But he's coming back
Remember
in
the
2
one
weeks
time?
potentially.
Remember the one time the Commanders won and they threw to Antonio Gibson and like highlighted him and then like they won a game? That was crazy.
Yeah. So you
Ron
never know.
Rivera is Jeff Fisher. I want to say this on record again. Ron Rivera is the worst coach in the NFL. He has no idea what he's doing. I could have him on the show. I'd look him dead in the eye and tell him that. So,
I mean, if you could get him on the show, that'd be an awesome interview, though.
it would be hostile.
See what we can do. I'm a Cowboys fan too, so I don't know if he'll come on. And we have and Alex is an Eagles fan. But moving on to wide receivers, the 5 wide receivers that we wanted to rank was number 1, Romeo Doubs, 16.1% rostered. Number 2, Greg Dortch, 7% rostered. Number 3, Noah Brown, 12.9% rostered. Number 4, Sterling Shepard, 28.8% rostered. And number 5, Zay Jones, 8.6% rostered. Now, that is not a crazy exciting list of names. There's still plenty of guys out there that we've talked about in previous season or weeks that have done okay. Josh Palmer dealing with potential injury, but he's doing okay, but his quarterback's hurt. We talked about KJ Osborne is still out there. He scored a touchdown at the end of the game to win it. So still some exciting names. Go back and listen to our other shows if you want to, but I wanted to highlight some different guys to help you all out. So the first one, Romeo Doubs. He had a team high 8 targets in week 3. He clearly seems to be gaining the trust of Aaron Rodgers, which is huge with Aaron Rodgers, even as a rookie wide receiver. And Sammy Watkins, shocking, is on IR. And Christian Watson is injured again. So Dobbs does not have a lot of competition. He's basically competing with the running backs, and then maybe Tunyon a little bit. So I like Dobbs for a high upside play. He has that big play ability. He should be available in most of your leagues at 16.1% rostered, and you probably can sneak in maybe even like 10% fab. I wouldn't go crazy. He's one of those like flex territory players, in my opinion. We're still a
Yeah.
couple weeks away from bye weeks, so I would not go crazy on him, but he could add some life to your bench. And then the last wide receiver I wanted to touch on was our number 2 wide receiver, Greg Dortch. One, fun name to say.
Love
Two,
it.
who saw this coming? I definitely did not. So he's only 7% rostered, so most people didn't see it coming. But he's seen at least 9 targets in 2 of the 3 games so far this season. That's insane. Rondale Moore still hurt. We have no idea when he's coming back. And DeAndre Hopkins is still
Rondale Moore's
suspended.
still bad.
Yeah. So, do I like that offense very much? Not really, but he's still getting the work. And right now, when you're trying to pick up players, you're looking for guys that are getting opportunities, and Greg Dortch is getting opportunities. And the Carolina Panthers is his next opponent. They just got lit up by Olave. So, if you need that, especially that flex, maybe that wide receiver 3, go ahead, pick up Greg Dortch. Again, you probably don't have to spend too much, maybe 10% fab. All right. And with that, take it away, Steve, for our favorite section, tight ends.
Yeah, this is my least favorite section. No one loves tight ends. I don't love tight ends, and I hate streaming tight ends. So this was really difficult for me. But let's get to the top 5, and I'm going to dive into just one of them this week. But your number 1 is David Njoku, 32% rostered. Logan Thomas is number 2 at 46% rostered. Then you got Tyler Conklin at 11.5, Evan Ingram at 29, and then Cole Kmet at 47. All right. So, hi, Jasper. I want to just pat myself on the back real quick and just be like, hey, good job, Steve. Thanks, Steve. Because David Njoku has been someone that I've been screaming his name all offseason, right? And everyone was like, about David Njoku. But as we've seen now, he is the best weapon through the air for Cleveland, right? We saw what he can do if you just put the ball in his hands. Just put the ball in his hands. Don't throw it to him 35 yards downfield. What are you doing? Throw it to him 6 yards downfield, and he'll create a 15-yard catch for you. That's David Njoku. That's why the Cleveland Browns handed him a whole bunch of money. That's why he's been seeing more time on the field and more targets and all that stuff. Give it to the man. The Chief is ready to feast. This is a man who's ready to be a tight end 1. He's young, he's athletic, he's big-bodied, he's everything you want in a tight end. The only thing he doesn't have is a quarterback. But that scumbag in Cleveland is going to be coming back, and he will be able to throw the ball to him. So let's get David Njoku into your lineups or into your bench at least if you're not comfortable with Jacoby Brissett, because Deshaun's coming back, and we're going to have some fire David Njoku during the playoffs.
And I wanted to step in real quick, Steve. I agree wholeheartedly with Njoku. We've been telling you guys on the show, chase opportunities, don't chase touchdowns. So the first 2 weeks, Njoku put up very little points, but he had crazy snap numbers, crazy routes run, crazy targets. He just wasn't getting the points. He wasn't getting the catches. He wasn't scoring. Well, he put it all together in week 3. Now, he's a tight end. He's going to be very feast or famine, but at least you're seeing those opportunities. So he's giving you that chance to hopefully score, and that's all you're looking for in a tight end. So sorry to interject, Steve, but continue with your
No,
list.
absolutely. That's where it's at, right? Like you can't. What do you do, right? Like Kyle Pitts, who like is like king of the athletes, vanished for 2 weeks. Travis Kelce, if he didn't catch a touchdown this week, would have had like 5 points for the second straight week. Tight end is not the position where you're like the only tight end who's absolutely money is Mark Andrews, and that's it. End of list. It's over. That's because
And he wasn't even money week 1.
Wasn't even money week 1. So there you go. And what else are you supposed to say about tight ends? It's a difficult position to try to project and roster and all that stuff. But you know what? You got to do it. And if you have to get somebody, if you went out and you drafted a tight end that's not quite getting it done for you, maybe a Robert Tunyon, something like that, maybe these guys are worth a look.
Perfect. All right. So I'm not going to lie. Our DST stream of the week has been doing pretty well until this week. it was not a lot out there. The matchups aren't great for those defenses under 50% rostered. So check your league, see if there's a better matchup for you. But I wanted to bring up the Minnesota Vikings. They are at New Orleans, which is not a great place to play, but I do like their defensive line. And New Orleans has been hit or miss. So you're not spending any money on them to pick them up. But that's probably who I'm looking at if you
I
need to
mean,
stream
New
this
Orleans
week.
New Orleans starting quarterback has a broken back. Their starting running back has broken ribs. Why not?
Yeah. So someone to look at. All right. So we just told you a bunch of guys to pick up. Well, that means you got to drop somebody. So these are all players that are over 50% rostered in ESPN. And I'm going to ask Steve if he would like to drop them or not. And since it's just me or Steve tonight, I will also give my opinion. So we're going to start it off with wide receiver Allen Robinson, 90.6% rostered.
No, don't drop Allen Robinson. Not yet.
I agree. Not dropping. Wide receiver Hunter Renfrow, 87.7% rostered.
Again, no. I like slot receivers in a McDaniel system.
If I would drop him if you have a shallow roster.
Yes.
Wide receiver Darnell Mooney, 83.7% rostered.
So this hurts because I also screamed out that Darnell Mooney was in for a huge season, but it has become painfully clear that the Bears have no interest in featuring him and chucking the ball all over the place. If you got a better opportunity, you drop Mooney at this point. Yeah, I think he's done.
You're definitely not starting Mooney, and I would be dropping him if my bench is not deep enough because they're just not throwing the ball enough for him to ever be fantasy relevant until that offensive scheme changes. Wide receiver Chase Claypool, 80% rostered.
Droppable.
Yep, I agree. Tight end Dawson Knox, 79.6% rostered.
Yeah, another tough one, but yeah, he's droppable, man. Like he's one of those guys that everything pointed to a big year, and it's just not happening. It's just not the offense.
Yeah, I'm dropping him and chasing a tight end that's just seen more opportunities, like a Tyler Conklin, Evan Ingram, David Njoku, one of those guys. Wide receiver Julio Jones, 70.6% rostered.
Yeah, drop him. He wasn't someone who ever should have been like really that high on your list. Like I can't believe he's. How much is he? 70.6.
70.6, almost 71%.
Yikes! Yeah, no. Julio's time is come and gone.
Yep. Wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 62.6% rostered.
Drop him. Droppable. Yep. Easy.
I agree. Wide receiver Jarvis Landry, 59.3% rostered.
I'm going to say droppable because I think Olave overtook him.
He's also banged up, so I'm dropping him as well. Tight end Hunter Henry, 57.8% rostered.
Hold Henry. Mac Jones just got hurt, and let's see what the backup does. He may have a better rapport with Hunter Henry than he does with like Jacoby Myers. So let's hold on to Henry.
Oh, see, I drop him. You can always pick him up next week if there's a better rapport. No, thank you. Drop Henry. This is the only running back on the list that I put on here. Running back Raheem Mostert, 57.7% rostered.
He's certainly droppable. I wouldn't want to. I have him in my fantasy league with my friends, and I'm not dropping him this week. Not over some of the other guys that I have.
Yeah, I would say if you need the space, drop him, but he would not be. Honestly, he's the only running back on here on purpose because I think it's really hard for you to drop any running back that is either in a starting role or a clear backup role with potential because it does not exist much in fantasy football. So you just want to have them fill your benches as much as possible.
Yeah.
All right. Tight end Mike Gesicki, 57.5% rostered.
Yeah, again, it's tight end, right? Like it's a streamable position at this point. Drop him, make a move for someone better.
Yep, drop him. And last one, wide receiver Kadarius Toney, 56.5% rostered.
This is dangerous because Monday Night Football starts in like 10 minutes, and if I'm wrong about this, people are gonna be mad. But I think he's droppable. He seems to be in like the doghouse of doghouses. It doesn't really matter how talented he is. Dable does not seem like he's going to use him at all. So that whole receiving room, if it says NYG next to your wide receiver, drop them.
Except for maybe Sterling Shepard, you can pick him up. But yeah, definitely dropping Toney. He's just banged up too often and immense potential and athletic talent. But yeah, I'm dropping him right now for the other guys that we talked about picking up. So
Yeah.
that is our show for week 4 already for the waiver wire. So like we said, we are part of fantasy, triple play fantasy, part of the Fantasy Points Media Group. So make sure you go ahead and follow all the shows on there. It's all in the show description. Make sure you like, subscribe, download, all that fun stuff. It's a great way to support us, but not just us, but support the team. The team puts out a lot of great content. Like I said, the main show will be out at 6:30 p.m. on Tuesdays every week to talk to you about betting as well as the games ahead for the NFL. So with that, thank you, Steve, for joining me this week. We will be back next Monday, 8 p.m. live, 8 p.m. Eastern, right before Monday Night Football to get you ready for the Week 5 waiver wire.
Set your watch by it. Come back. Talk to
or
us.
just subscribe and you'll get the notifications. So thank you all. Have a great one and enjoy Monday Night Football.
See you later, guys.